And welcome to another. I want to talk about storytelling. Listen, this is what I'm working on now, right? I'm teaching speaking for business owners, and it really is about telling your story. What happened to you? What's the thing you don't want everybody else to know, right? It's the thing that makes you different, and people don't understand that. So today with me is master storyteller and journalist and coach and brand coach actually is Barbara Mannino. Barbara, welcome.
Thank you. So glad to be here, Jane.
Oh, my never fails. The moment I start my podcast, something happens there.
I
Right?
got phones in the drawer, so we won't hear them.
So, well, welcome. And today I really want to talk about, how we always start this call is the milk crate moment, because it's a milk crate moment is that, and I know you know that, but this is just to give a little context to the audience. A milk crate moment is that moment in our business where we are, let's say, gently having a meltdown or a moment. Let's call it a moment. It's a moment. A milk crate moment is that place where you are like going to lose your shit, right? And it's like we don't know what step to take. Do I go left? Do I pivot right? Do I turn around? Where am I supposed to go? And it's when we come at that crossroads in our business, and it's like, I if I can go one more day, maybe I can make it, right? Or how so many entrepreneurs have gone out of business because they couldn't make it through the milk crate moments in their life, right? So Barbara, I'm going to ask you today, what was what was your milk crate moment, and would you share that with us?
Absolutely. So my milk crate moment was when I was at the depths of, shall we say, business despair. I was getting clients, but they were kind of straggling in, and there seemed to be a whole selection of people that were always wanting to argue price, or if you gave them a fair price that represented the value of my experience and what I could do for them, there was always a quibble. And I was discouraged. I mean, to the point where I felt it in the pit of my stomach, where I would wring my hands, where I was waking up in the middle of the night, when I was saying to my husband on a regular basis, if this doesn't change, if I don't find something to change, I am throwing in the towel. And that was painful too, because I love what I do. I love words and writing and story and editing. And the thought of giving it up was devastating. But spending all the time I was, throwing my whole self into it, and not feeling that I was being appreciated was so disturbing. And on top of everything else, on top of wanting to throw in the towel, it diminished my confidence. There crept in the old imposter syndrome and me saying to myself, damn, maybe I'm not as good as I think I am. Maybe I can't help people as much as I can. So it was a pretty dismal time. And truthfully, I think I was getting a little bit physically sick from it. A lot of headaches, a lot of stomach aches. It was affecting my entire life.
So, and I'm guessing, and I just want to make sure that people follow this through story here, is it's because you weren't making any money from that.
That's right.
Right?
I wasn't making the money that I felt I deserved, that was commensurate with my talent, my sincerity and integrity about helping my clients. You're absolutely right. You know, it comes down a lot to money. That makes you, if there's a disparity between what you think you're offering and what you're getting paid, you're saying to yourself, what the hell am I doing wrong?
Exactly. And I think I think that's why so many entrepreneurs don't make it through their milk crate moment, right? Because they're like, I don't know how to make money, right? And Barbara, that was my story too, right? When I first started this business here, I didn't know how to sell. I literally had the worst business model in the world. I would invite people into a meeting, a workshop, and I would pay for everything. And at the end, I'd give them everything I knew. And at the end, I would just hug them as they walked away. Right. And because I kind of believe that if you build it, they will come. That is such bullshit.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it is a big lot of BS. Yeah.
It is. So when you build it, what do you have to do?
Well, you got to do something about it. You got to figure out what the strategies are
Right.
to make it work. And I sure knew I didn't have a strategy.
Yeah. And you know what? And I'm glad you said that because I honestly think most entrepreneurs don't think that. They
Oh,
don't, they don't, they don't follow that through. And because I know I didn't, and I've been an entrepreneur for 38 years now. So somewhere along the line, I should have thought, huh, I don't have a strategy to get to this next section, right? But it never even occurred to me. So I'm really glad that you said that because that's exactly right, right? If you've got to have a strategy to get past that milk crate moment so that you can go on to serve the people you were put here to serve.
well, you know what's kind of funny? In my case, so I'd been a creative my whole professional life.
Mhm.
And of course, when I was in corporate, I I was on teams, I was leading teams, I was spearheading campaigns. The jobs were there, right? The assignments were there. When I was a reporter for the financial press, when I wrote for Fox Business News, yes, I would have to pitch my editor, but I was established as a contributing writer. So I had a good chance of getting FaceTime with her
Mhm.
to get my stories accepted. But now I was in a whole different realm. I was trying to bring clients to me, and I was so good at the creative, but I didn't have the business down pat. Not a business model, not a strategy in my head. Just what you said. If they build it, they will come. You know, the Kevin Costner Field of
Yeah.
Dreams syndrome.
Yeah, who doesn't love Kevin Costner
Who
and
doesn't?
wouldn't believe anything he told us, right? I would believe it all. So, yeah, I think that that's such an important point. So, now as a journalist, right? As a journalist, what was the most important thing you found out about journalism that we as entrepreneurs need to know?
Well, I was in journalism for a long time, and the one thing about journalism is that it was always based on objectivity and accuracy. And as you probably noticed, that's changed a lot today in the mainstream press. But even so, as a writer promoting people, um, I realized that what I could take from that journalism was the storytelling. As a matter of fact, that is the theme that's run through my entire career, telling a story, because it's in the story that relationships are built, that you draw people to you. That's what makes all the difference. And in a way, I was very privileged to have that journalism background because I knew nothing else than telling a story, a good
Well,
story.
yeah, and I think I that's it right there, a good story, right? And as a journalist, you had to figure out how to make the most trivial thing a good story, right?
Absolutely. And that's, for me, that's both a challenge and the fun. I stepped back and I thought about all the people I had interviewed in my career,
Yeah.
articles that I'd written that had won awards, brochures and such that had won awards, newsletters. What was the ingredient? And the ingredient was that I showed the humanism in the people about whom I was writing, whether it was the CEO of MetLife who I interviewed in this gilded conference room at the MetLife building, or whether it was a small business person doing his part to serve his clients, it was making them human, writing human, and being very careful in the way I chose the words and chose the quotes so that I would show, and I want to underscore the word show, I would show people who my sources and clients were, what made them tick. It wasn't just telling, it wasn't just throwing information at them, it was a story that showed people who they were.
It
And
had to be
that's where
intriguing,
the connection occurred.
right? It because you made it intriguing. We wanted to hear the whole story when you started speaking, right?
Right?
So, all right, I'm going to ask because I want to know what is out of all the stories you've told, what is that number one story that you're like, funny story, I nailed it, I got a lot of press about it, and people loved it.
Well, it is actually something from my journalism career.
Okay.
And I was assigned um, a story about a hostile merger. A small but growing company that was establishing itself as a conglomerate went up against a big insurance industry titan named AIG.
Oh,
AIG had been on bid on an insurance company, and a month later, this renegade conglomerate came in and said, "We want to buy it, and we're topping your bid." And boy, did the acrimony start and the sparks fly. And I got to interview the the CEO of this corporation, Sendent, on his 55th uh, suite, his executive office. And I covered that story, and that little company won. But somehow something went awry in the company. It was exposed that there was some accounting fraud in their books, and their whole win unraveled. And for 9 months, this up and down, this roller coaster went on. And at the end of 9 months, the conglomerate lost. And the big industry titan, AIG, got the bid. But the greatest part as a journalist was that Henry Silverman, who, as I said, was the CEO and who I had covered throughout, granted me an ending interview. And his opener was, "Your reporting has been fair, it's been balanced, and you are one of the few reporters to whom I'm granting an interview." And believe me, that was a proud career moment and
wow.
really a huge accomplishment.
Well, and that's probably better than any award, right? That to have
Better than
something from,
any award.
yeah. And honestly, I don't think we get that anymore. We're not getting a well balanced, fair story from any news outlet at this point in our history, right?
Well, and as I said, when you asked me first about journalism, my old journalism teacher would be turning over in his grave to know that objectivity and oftentimes accuracy has been lost. So yes,
Yeah.
the landscape has changed.
Wow. That's so crazy. I mean, and it's so great to hear that though, that at one time we had that and it was you. I love
It
that.
was me.
It was you. I love that. So let's talk a little bit about what you're doing now and how you're helping because you work with entrepreneurs now.
I do.
Awesome.
Yes.
So let's talk about how you're helping entrepreneurs in their businesses and what's going on in your business right now.
Okay. So um, I help small and mid-sized businesses get their story out. Whether they call me in to do a website, whether they have me do blogs for them, whether they have me do their social. It can be any combination of things. Um, but it is me getting their story out. A lot of them come to me because they too are having some milk crate moments, or they feel that they just need a revamp and a refresh. And so They want somebody who can help them turn their content, and I call that content with a capital C because it includes the brand story, the brand message, and all the relevant content and little everyday stories that support the brand. So they need somebody to help them with content. And it is finding the right words, but it's certainly telling the right story. It's about reverse engineering and deciding what you want the people who are reading or listening to you, what you want them to take away. And once you make that decision, then you tell a story in terms of only the essential points that gets you to that takeaway, to that aha, to that lesson. That's what makes a story strong, and that's what makes it good. And then the secondary piece of that is the energy of it. Obviously, when you're speaking, there's more of a chance to bring energy to your brand. But honestly, when you're writing, if you use the right words, the right mechanics in the way you position sentences, different lengths, and all that, you can create energy in that writing too. And that energy is a wonderful piece. That's where the magic happens. And again, that's where you're showing, not just telling people who you are.
Well, tell us, tell us, what are two or three elements that a brand story needs to have in it?
So it definitely needs to have a central thread. So, what is it? So, say I'm writing about a solopreneur. What is it that gets that person up in the morning? What was the motivating piece, the inspirational piece that told that person he wanted to create this business to help others? What problem did he see in his sphere of expertise that he could help people solve? So it's identifying that, and then it's being able to convey that in such a way that people can relate to it. They can relate to the emotion of it. In fact, they begin to internalize the story as if it's theirs. And once that happens, there is a connection, and likability and trust builds. It's very important to convey all this in terms of feeling. Gone are the days when business is just business. I always say it's more than just business. It's about the feelings involved. So if you're a landscaper, you don't just cut lawns, but you help people feel good about the way their yard looks, that they're coming home to an oasis where they can relax, that it shows the other neighbors that they're keeping up with their property and maintaining neighborhood values. Again, you're getting at a higher level, you're getting at something deeper, you're getting at an emotion, not just a transaction. So your brand story must always go beyond the transaction.
I love that. I love that. All right. I know you have something to give away today. What is that?
I do. It is a chapter in a business book to which I contributed. And as you might guess, it's about brand story, why it's important, and a couple of things that you can do to create a brand story. Certainly, the things you have to think about when creating a brand story. Because remember, people, one, have to like you, and two, they have to be able to see in your brand story what's in it for them. Your brand story has to show them what's in it for them. So it's your story, but ironically, It's really about them. And this chapter digs into some of that and certainly encourages people to see the importance of that when marketing their businesses and saves them from being defeated when a milk crate moment arises.
Oh, Barbara, I could not have said that any better. So yay for you. So listen, I'm going to download this, right? Because I want to know about my brand story. So, or read about this is your chapter is about brand stories?
It
Yeah.
is. It's
Yeah.
called Get Seen, Get Heard, Boost Retention by 30% because it is said that you will not only get, but you will retain customers if
Mm.
you rely on story to promote your business.
Oh, you guys. Now, Barbara, do you mind if I take 1 second here and promote something I have coming up on Friday as well? And that is my influence event. And while we're not going to be talking about brand, we are going to be talking about storytelling because when you're out speaking, and I think Barbara would agree with me, storytelling is so much more effective than if I got up there and I just rattled off statistics, right? Or I rattled off tactics of what you need to do this, and this, right?
The
That's
finger
not,
shake.
yes, get out there and like, yeah, no, it's really so much more effective when you're speaking to teach with the story. I heard John Maxwell say, and you might have heard, I'm sure you've heard this quote. John Maxwell said, never tell a story without making a point, and never make a point without telling a story. I took that to heart because I like to talk, right?
Can I just say one thing? I
Yeah.
think people there's this word story is so bandied about, and I don't think people truly understand it. And I also think many people can be intimidated by
Mm.
it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have stories to tell. I can't tell a story. Jean, you can find a story on the way to the dry cleaner or the drugstore.
Oh my gosh, yes. Right? Anything can be a story.
Anything.
If you can, if you know how to story tell.
Absolutely.
Right.
If
So
you start at the end, what do you want to prove?
exactly. So listen, go get Barbara's chapter in a book that she wrote, chatwithbarb.com, and read it. I know I'm going to get it and read it. If you've got nothing better to do this Friday, reach out to me and get a ticket to my influence event, speaker training for business owners. It's not what you say, it's what they hear. Story. So, all right, guys. Barbara, thank you so much for being here. This was amazing. I just think you're the cat's meow, right? You're the
Well, that is so nice. You made my day. I won't cook dinner for a week. And Jean, I've, had the opportunity to see some of the stuff you're doing. You do phenomenal things,
thank
great programs, great coaching. I'm so pleased to have been on Milk Crate Moments.
Oh, thank you. I just love hearing. Say it one more time.
I'm so pleased to be on Milk Crate Moments because you do great things, great events, great teachings.
I was just kidding, Barbara. All right. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you all later. Have a great day. Bye.